Hi, it's Cammy Chris Gamara, and you're listening to the Iron Hour podcast.
Welcome to the Iron Hour podcast, sponsored by Best Blanks Wholesale. A big shout out to my cousin, actually, Dave Barraclough. I promised I'd give him one, so this is for you, Dave. Thanks for listening to us, and I hope your commute to work isn't too bad. I hope we give you a little bit of entertainment over the next hour. And of course, to everybody else as well, I'm joined today by, I won't say my two favourites, but you're certainly in the top five, guys. Yeah, you're in the top five. First of all, everybody's favourite, everybody's raving about her. It's Becky on the Iron Hour podcast.
Hello, Barra. Hello. Welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Pleased to be here.
It's my podcast. You just guests on it.
Yeah. Well, it's nice to actually have you present for once. I mean, you've gone missing in action. There was vicious rumours circulating, Becky, that you'd left us.
I know. See, being a queen, I have big duties to fill, you know. So.
And not only have we got Becky, so we've swapped Marco for Becky, and we've got rid of Max and brought in Gareth. Iron Army, how you doing, Gaz?
I'm very well, thank you. A long time no see. About 5 hours.
Yeah, we spent all day together, haven't we, Gaz?
We have. Been a good time.
Looking into each other's eyes.
What have you been doing?
Well, we're recording this. We're recording this on Thursday night, and Gareth and I spent today at the market stall, didn't we? Doing a bit of free labour, cheap labour, free labour.
St John's Market in Scunthorpe, with a club shop. Last minute gifts and things, and just so we know they're still there tomorrow as well, on Saturday and Sunday, and I believe next week Monday as well. So
how's your wrist doing?
My wrist?
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Gareth's just signing autographs all day. Just fans going up to him, wanting to chat, wanting to see what's what, weren't they, Gaz?
Yeah, no, it was nice to have a chat with fans that you don't normally get a chance to chat with, and tell them that they watch the channel. And yeah, it was just nice in general, but no autographs were signed, no photographs were taken with anyone else. But no, it was just a nice day. Some great people came along.
Can we just say award-winning channel? Let's just get the award-winning in there.
Well, I don't like to watch it go on about that, but yeah. We're all award winners, aren't we?
We're all winners in our eyes.
Yes.
Well, it is going to be an action-packed episode today. There's so much. I know we say that every week, but this week, there's a lot to get through. We're going to look at the Marine game. I mean, I'll save it for now, but yeah, again, lots to talk about there. We'll have a look at both Andy Butler interviews on BBC Radio Humberside. We'll look at a fans talking point, an interesting one. We'll go through that. We preview the Hereford game, and we'll finish it all off with our usual Spy in the Camp. And we're joined this week by KD from the London Bulls podcast, the Hereford FC fans podcast. So he speaks quite well, actually. We recorded that one earlier on the week. I really enjoyed that Spy in the Camp. It's up there. That one definitely is in my top five of Spy in the Camps we've done. So a bit of a treat for you at the end of the episode. Both of you guys. The Marine game on Saturday. Gaz, I know you were there. Just talk to me about it. Just what happened?
I think what happened, Marine were up for it. They just came and pressed us and just put us off our stride, really. Looked like there was only one team that wanted to play football and win the game. And for me, it was them, especially in the first half. We just, the passes were going astray. We were knocking it straight out. Yeah, it just didn't work for us, that first half. And then I said on the vlog about, I think it was halfway through that half, I said, hopefully at the end, fitness comes into play. And it did. I think if they were a full-time team, we wouldn't have got anything out of that game.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that their legs went, I think, when we played them at our place as well, the same thing happened. Get to 70, 75 minutes and they were just jaded and we took advantage, thank goodness. But yeah, it wasn't a great game, but the main thing is we got the win.
Gareth, one of the new features you've started doing on your channel is the fans' reaction, which we get quite instantaneously on match day.
Yeah.
What What was the vibe at half time?
Well, I wasn't going to do a fan reaction at halftime, and I had those lads that ran it, Harry, Oliver, Jake, I think it was, and they said, "Can we come on and say something?" I said, "Yeah, go for it," and they weren't happy, but the majority of fans weren't happy when the final whistle, not final, the halftime whistle went. There was lots of boos, lots of shouting towards Butler, and it was just, it was quite toxic, in fairness, and it wasn't the greatest of halves of football. It was, when you're losing 1-0 against the team that are in the relegation zone, that's the last thing you want in it to see. So the fans, they just positive, and like you say, it's instantaneous. I don't edit anything. Whatever's said is said. So I'm sure when people look back and think, I wish I'd not said that, but it's there, it's done, and so yeah, you can sort of see from the reaction of the fans and how it was,
Becky, talk to me. Oh, sorry, go on. Have you got more to
I
say?
would say then obviously at the end of the game it changed.
Yeah.
The mood changed. It was more smiles, a bit of happiness, but a lot of the fans were saying we were lucky to get anything out of the game, which we were. But you make your own luck, don't you? And our own luck is that we were the fitter team over the last 15-20 minutes.
Becky, one thing Gareth said there was about we were the lucky team. What are your thoughts coming away from Saturday's game against Marine?
I think that I know it was said that we wore them down apparently, but I literally think we just got a lucky escape and they just ran out of steam, like Gareth said. I do feel like we've used our second get out of jail free card in the last couple of weeks, and we've had very close encounters, one being Alfreton, where I think Alfreton was the better team. And again, Marine were better in the first half. We didn't have any shots on target, and that is abysmal for who we are and what we're going for. And they're in relegation. We're up there in the top trying to fight for automatic promotion. 0 shots on target. You would think that we're bloody match fixing. It was that bad. So, but yeah, no, it's clear we didn't offer a lot. And we weren't very impressive. But like I said, I'd take the 3 points, but I do think it's just papering over cracks. And if it was any stronger team, probably in the top half, we would have been nailed on a loss. And good on Danny Whitehall for coming out and showing us exactly why we like him. So hopefully it gives him a boost.
Can I just say something as well? There's been a lot said about other teams and Marine, like their cup final, and they're up the game. I think in a recent interview with Butler, he said about teams up in the game against us. Now, we kind of know that teams do that and cup finals, so why don't we go into games as though it's our cup final as well? Why would we let the other team put it on and we don't?
Yeah, but the point there, Gareth, right, is I'm not sure I subscribe to that theory, but let's say I do, right? If you're Marine, it's easy to get up for a cup final that happens twice a season. You're asking us to do it 46 times a season.
Yeah. Yeah, but we need to up. We do need to up our game. We know that teams come to us, and up their game. And for me, we need to just take another step as well. Because there's a lot of the time, it's really slow passages of play. And, if we've just got that tempo a bit more, even if it's just 10-minute spells here and there, I'm not saying full 90 minutes, we're going to do it because obviously that you won't be able to. But I think if we can up our game 10, 15 minutes and take a good hold of it, and we do that sometimes, but we don't get the goals. We need to make sure we get goals from it when we do it, because we have that good spell at times and we get nothing for it.
Gaz, there was wholesale changes going into the game, unbelievably. On this podcast, we got very close with the lineup prediction.
You did.
Ridiculously. Well, absolute shot in the dark. A stop clock is right twice a day. And my clock stopped a long time ago, let me tell you. What do you think? What do you think was the motivation behind making all those changes?
I think it was a different. Obviously, changes were made for the Alfreton game with height being a factor, and I just
lump it on them, lads.
Well, no, I think that's what it was, wasn't it? I mean, they lump it, we'll lump it, and I just think that changes had to be made for a Marine team that weren't the same height, didn't play the same, weren't as physical, and I think as well just to freshen up. Some of the players needed a freshen up. It's good to see players come back in. Nicholson, So yeah, I just feel that it was a different type of a game to Alfreton, and it needed different personnel.
I feel regardless though of whether it was a different game to Alfred, I feel like the players should be trying to fight for their place in the squad, and him changing it around is a prime example of why they should be fighting and going out there. Like, we're the top dogs. People should come to us and we'll be like, this is why we're professional football players and we're not part-time, and this is why we're full-time. But like, no one fears us anymore. We're not. I don't think we're anyone's cup final anymore. People see us as a great chance to make history, but I don't feel like we're cup final worthy anymore. I think we lost that after last season.
Do you know what, Becky? I think I absolutely agree with you there. I don't think I'm being negative there either. I think it's a little bit egotistical when we start saying, "Oh, we're Scunthorpe United, where everyone's cup fan." Bollocks! They'll look at us and think a decent team that we have a decent chance of doing a job against if we do the basics right. That's what I think, Becky.
Absolutely. Last season, when we would lose a game, everyone would be on our backs laughing at us, especially on Twitter. And now this season, it doesn't seem like anyone actually cares. There's no crap from a different team or Grimsby and stuff like that. Literally, it's just normal day to day. It's like we are a non-league North team.
Gareth, do you think there's anything in that? Because I know you really do. You probably do take the opposite view, right?
No, I do. I still think that Scunthorpe United is a big pull. I know we're in National League North. I know we're in the same league as Marine, Alfretons, Chesters, whoever you want to, you know what I mean. But I still think that, especially with the fan base, the large fan base that comes, especially away games, travels, or when teams come to us, I think the fan base is a big thing as well. And so when you're playing in front of 3,500, 4,000 at Scunthorpe, and you're playing at, I don't know, 600 at Curzon Ashton, I think that's, you know what I mean? It's a big thing. A crowd makes a big thing as well for players. And I think, teams up the game against us, call it what you want, but I think teams do up the game against us because it's in front of a crowd. And, they don't get an opportunity the same week in, week out. And I think it's a big thing for some teams.
And Gareth, just looking chronologically at what happened. So we're obviously 1-0 down late on in the game, and there's various substitutions made. And one of those substitutions is the introduction of Danny Whitehall, who Becky mentioned earlier, really come on and saved our bacon. Probably would think himself unlucky not to start. First question to you would be, did he really look to make a difference? Was he worthy of his 2 goals? And the second question would be, if we'd have started him, my mind goes to, well, then he wouldn't have been on the pitch when we needed those 2 goals. So then, there's an argument to say Butler was justified in his decision not to start him, right?
Yeah. Well, no, yeah, I think you're right there.
Sorry, just one more thing. Particularly if our strategy is now this rope-a-dope, which, again, Butler spoke about today in his... Well, we'll get onto the Butler interviews, but Butler spoke about that again today. It looks like now our new philosophy is rope-a-dope. We're going to wait for teams to tire and then hit them back.
Yeah. Well, no, get it. But no, he did make an impact when he came on. You know what I mean? You could see that. But when he came on, it was a good time because Marine were definitely struggling. And when you're bringing someone like Danny Whitehall on up top, and you're already fatigued mentally and physically, then he's the type of player that's going to cause even more issues. Just the way he plays, the way he is. He was at the ref as well, which was a good thing. When it was needed. So yeah, I think but then, like you say, if it started the game, it's all hypothetical, isn't it? If it had started the game, would it have been the same? And
well, he tends to play if Whitehall starts, Butler tends to bring him off after about 60, 65 minutes, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, but you don't. But would we have got shots on target? That's it's that's what I'm saying. It's hypothetical, isn't it? Like Becky said, in the first half, we had nothing.
I don't think it was down to just one player though. I think.
Oh no,
you
there was other players that
exactly.
Came on.
You could have put him on to start, or you could have brought him on like they did. I don't think him starting or coming on would have made a huge difference. I think it was just a team effort that wasn't there. I just don't think it flowed from the very beginning, from back to front at all. It was everyone. Everyone just looked like they couldn't play for shit or they was just chasing a dog with a bone and stuff like that. It just never looked fluent.
Yeah, I thought Carlton made a difference as well with his pace. I know Becky's there's other players as well that came on, but yeah, Carlton for me made a difference. Created lots of space for other players to come into.
And Gaz, thinking about Marine, impressed you? Because they certainly impressed me when they came up earlier on in the season.
For Marine,
Mm.
yeah, no, I thought they did well. Yeah, they impressed. I can't think of his name. The number 20 on the wing for them. Is it Sinclair Smith or somebody? Sinclair Rowe?
Number 20?
Pardon?
20. That's what I call him.
20. Yeah, we'll just call him 20. But no, I thought he played really well. Beat his man quite a few times. And but no, I thought they looked all right, but it was the fatigue. I think that's probably been the reason why where they are. If they could keep that up for 90 minutes, 95 minutes, I think they'd be in a lot better position.
Right. Okay, that's Marine covered. Now, this next section, had we recorded this a day ago, might have gone a little bit differently. But there are now 2 Andy Butler interviews on BBC Radio Humberside to react to. And in my opinion, and this might be a controversial one, but my opinion is that they probably even each other out and we're more or less back to a starting point. I'm not sure that Becky thinks the same. So let's discuss that first interview. First of all, Becky, the full-time whistle goes. There's a huddle in the middle of the pitch. I think that signals unity, the players coming together. It looks to everybody that's a signal from the players that they're really playing for Butler. They want the fans to know they're behind the manager. And then, about 10 minutes later, the craziest interview on BBC Radio Humberside where there was he just didn't answer the questions, did he?
It was very awkward, let's be real. But you are very much a pro Butler. I want Butler to succeed, but I'm very realistic. I think the thing with Butler is he is so stubborn, and this is not the first time something like this has happened. For example, the fans forum, he was quite sassy there. Then this interview, the first one, obviously, he's made up for it for the second one, but you still can't forget the first interview. It was still rude as hell. And then he was massively late the other week when they was packing up all the media stuff. He then come out. And then another thing, walking down the tunnel and not clapping the fans, regardless of a win, draw, or loss, that is rude. I know Evans tends to come and shake some fans' hands, whether we win, we draw, or we lose. I just don't know. I just think his stubbornness and his non-willingness to change is going to get in his way. And I fully believe that because people think that you're being negative, that you want the club and Butler to fail, and that is not the case. I can accept mistakes as well as anyone else, but after a certain amount of time and making the same mistake, I fully believe that it becomes a choice. So the formations sometimes, well, most of the time, are quite wrong and out there. I believe after a few times of doing the same mistake, you're just being stubborn and it's a choice on your end. So it's a hard one because I do want him to succeed. I honestly want him to succeed because it's my club. He's a former player. I grew up with him and his little blonde highlights. But I think it's his own personality and his own stubbornness that is getting in his way to succeed. If he could hold his hands up and go, yeah, I messed up here, I should have changed this, then I think we would be in a different predicament.
I agree with that. That's what I said on BBC Radio Humberside on Wednesday evening. I think 2 things need to happen. I know Max Bell said this, but these are the 2 things that need to happen. The second thing in the journey is things need to improve. But for that to happen, the first thing is there needs to be an acceptance that things have gone wrong and mistakes have been made. And until that's made, you won't get to the second point. And I think that's one thing that Andy really needs to work on. And you're right. Okay, what you say is kind of right. I am pro Butler in as much as he's our manager, and I think he deserves more time. I think he deserves more of an opportunity. But that isn't to say, my opinions. I was very disappointed with that interview on Saturday. I thought it was inappropriate. I thought it was uncomfortable. I thought it was wrong. I don't know what else.
This isn't me. Yeah, this isn't me turfing Butler out with a big banner saying Butler out. Please don't ever think that. This is me saying that it takes several people that have been around the block a bit in the football ways to build a football club back up from the ground. And he has the likes of Schofield. He has Musselwhite, who is probably Mr. Scunthorpe himself. He's been here as long as I remember. He needs to start using these people and relying on them and actually working with them. I feel like he feels like maybe he's against everyone. It's him against the world. And it's really not like that. The fans are not being negative because of that. The fans are being negative because maybe how they're getting treated.
It's a factor. Yeah, Gareth, I'm gonna introduce you now because I know your opinion is things are said in the heat of the moment.
They are. That's what I was going to say.
You move on.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, he's had 10, 15 minutes after the game before that interview, but things are said, and with the abuse that he's got in the game, at half times had to walk across the fans, basically across the pitch, so the fans are throwing at him, booing, whatever. And I just feel that it's like the fans' reaction. That's instant, And I'm sure fans say things at the time because they're upset, they're angry, whatever. And then looking back and I think, I wish I'd not said that, And I'm sure Butler was the same. He's given that interview, and it's probably the last place he's wanted to be. And then, at the time I was like, oh, that's shocking. But when you step back a day later, look at it, you think, yeah, I can see why he would have probably come out like that and given the answers that he gave.
I get that. I get that, but I'm a firm believer of loose lips sink ships. And once it's out there fully. And if you was in an office job, for instance, and you spoke to someone like he spoke to Ollie, you'd get told off, you'd get bollocked, and that's the point. Maybe he hasn't been bollocked, maybe he has. But fair play, he's come out and apologised. I'm guessing he apologised and said sorry behind closed doors, and so did Ollie, and he's come out and done the interview. But like I said, it's still out there, and it still has a lingering effect on all the fans. But that, along with not playing very good, is always going to be quite negative.
Gareth, do you think that somebody would say to you, though, you said there it's the last place you wanted to be. Somebody would pose the question to you or pose the point to you, well, he's a football manager of a professional football team. He has to accept that is part of the job and he has to do better, right?
Well, no, it does have to. Yeah, it is part of the job, but as well, on the other hand, he could have pushed somebody else out there.
Yeah,
he could have pushed Schofield out there, and got him to deal with it. But he's come out and he's done it, and I'm sure that looking back, he wished he'd done it differently with everything. Media blew up that night, which got to fans in that interview. And I'm sure, like Becky said, he's had another interview today, which was a lot more civil, a lot nicer, and yeah, I'm sure he regrets it, but it's happened, like Becky says. But I just think that at the time, some of the questioning from Ollie possibly as well was a bit negative. I think he said as well in the interview that they've done today. Wasn't a positive start to the interview. And I think, But was probably just, I don't know, it's just everything's got on him. And he's just giving those the answers that he gave, like he did.
Okay, well, what we've got there, right, is we've got two different opinions, and I would think I, unsurprisingly, sit somewhere in between those two opinions, right on the fence. And that's where I was up until the latest interview on BBC Radio Humberside that dropped today. And I think you got a really sincere 20 minutes from Andy Butler where he talked about the fact that mistakes have been made. He talked about things that he could do better. He talked about the fact that things happened in the heat of the moment and, there's a little bit of regret there. I will say, in the interest of transparency, we didn't hear an apology as such on the interview, but I am reliably informed that Ollie and Andy have had that moment off camera, and everything's good there. So for me, Gareth, I thought it was quite mature, the right thing. Yeah. I think he had to do it, right? The thing is, he had to do it, because if he'd not done that, things would have got a lot worse, right?
Well, yeah, it would have just been festering until the next time, if he'd not done that. And I think Ollie as well apologised on the interview.
But you see, I don't know if Ollie needed to. I don't know.
He didn't need to. I don't think he needed to. How can you justify being happy and excited about a shit performance the first half? He was very honest. That is his job, to be very honest. Yes, we got 3 points and he was very honest about that, but we have to cover all bases. That's his actual job. And fair play to Butler for coming out and apologising, saying we've messed up, we've made these mistakes. Absolutely, this is what we needed, but we needed it a couple of weeks ago, and it shouldn't take for him to mess up on an interview for him to come out and actually say it. And that's the problem. That's where my feelings are, that it shouldn't take for this to go and for Twitter and social media to blow up, for him to come out and say, yeah, we've made mistakes here, I'm willing to change, blah, blah, blah. It should have been done weeks ago off his own back, not because of something that's happened, if that makes sense.
The truth is, we'll never know, right? If it was he's been told to do that, or if time is just a great healer, right? He's had time to reflect on it, a couple of days. He's thought, yeah, I'll let myself down there. We all do that, right? How many times I made a mistake, time has healed the situation, or even an hour, 2 hours later, I think, oh, Jesus, why did I do that? Why have I said that? I could have behaved so differently. I just got carried away, got so angry, so frustrated. And what are you laughing at, Gaz?
No, I'm just thinking of times that, like, Debbie will say something, and I'll respond, and be like, oh, and then, like you say, an hour or two later, I'm thinking, oh, no. I mean, come out, work this around somehow.
Yeah, and then you've got to work double hard to make it back, right? Yeah, we've all been there. But I guess the point I wanted to make to you was, Becky made a really good point there about, the football was poor. But as I've said a billion times on this podcast, I can't rewrite what I've said previously. And as I've said previously, right, a win is a win is a win.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it is. And at the end of the day, we can play as poor as we like, and if we win, that's what matters at the end of the day, the 3 points. If we can win the majority of our games that are left, and it's the worst football ever, Andy Butler's not going to be bothered about that. You know what I mean? He wants the points. He needs the points. The fans will be bothered about it because they're thinking, I'm not watching this again. But, like you say, a win is a win is a win. 3 points is what matters. And, if the football is horrible, we've just got to suck it up, unfortunately. And, and they keep winning games, playing ugly football, then we'll be following Tamworth.
So Gareth is okay with the situation and how it's unfolded and has chalked that one down to experience. I've been healed by Butler's latest interview. Becky, what's your stance?
You make me sound like a bitch, don't you?
No,
I'm okay.
No.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Like I said previously, I don't want Butler to fail. This is the point. But he's come out and said this. It should have been done weeks ago. I can move on. I'm happy, just as long as it doesn't happen again. If the football improves, even better. And I get what you mean about, we're winning, we get the points, but we can't always rely on the other team to lose energy for us to win.
Mm-hmm.
We need to start playing decent football regardless, and we have the team for it. We have some of the greatest players in that league. We should be playing great football. Like, there's some tall men in there. It's like, it's incredible. But no, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm plodding on. I'm just looking forward to the Christmas period. I feel like this period is where it makes or breaks a football team for that season. If you go into it really positive and come in January really positive, then we tend to do a lot better.
Yeah, but, Becky, I'm not one to get carried away, right?
Yeah.
But I was in the dumps this morning. Then I heard his little interview, and I think we're going to win the league.
Oh no.
No comment. I think with a chance. I think we'll do it. I think I'll be giving Stu Moore a tenner, Gaz.
Yeah, well, they can put it towards tickets for families. But no, I think that this Marine game could be a turning point in the season, just with the interview, with this, with that, with fans, just
the huddle
getting. And I just feel that it could be a turning point, and it should be a turning point.
It's weird how time changes things, because, like I said, if we'd have recorded this last night, I was on BBC Radio Humberside 24 hours ago. I was a very different person then, because I felt very differently about it. It's just, I don't know. I think as long as it doesn't happen again, as Becky says, right, and this snapping at fans and this bollocks, all that stops, right? If that stops and that's the last we hear of it, And there's an acceptance, which I think there was in the interview today. There's an acceptance that things have been off. Listen, I'm ready. I'm ready to move on. Let's chalk it. Let's chalk a line under it and move on, baby.
I think if we get 3 points on Saturday, that would help his cause massively. I think that would sweeten a lot of people's tea, to be fair.
Can I just say as well, I think I mentioned it to Barrett earlier at the market, that, does he need some media training? Just as a... and I think with Matt Roberts in the building, he could have a quiet word and just, go about it this way, go about it that way.
Maybe you should ask you, Gareth.
Oh, no.
You're the people's princess.
Well, apparently he only lives around the corner, apparently.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I'll stalk him.
It's been done before by people on this podcast. Gaz, just before we move on, it's just come to my mind. I thought I'll explore it a little bit. You said over the weekend that you thought Board needed to come out and make a comment.
Yeah.
Do you still think that's the case?
Yeah, I do. Just to put the fans, worries at ease, and just to help Andy Butler as well. It does seem like he's just been out there on his own, fighting a battle, and I just think it would have just stopped speculation and worry, and would have helped him as well. So yeah, it would have been nice for him to come out and just say, we're fully behind Andy and the team. We know they're working hard, and they're trying to, get the results on the board type thing. So obviously they don't watch the podcast because it never came out. But yeah, no, I just think it would have been nice just for somebody to, from the board or the board to put a statement out or anything, just to say, we're fully behind the team. Andy's not on his own. We're going to make it work type thing.
Okay, let's draw a line. Let's move on. We've still got a little bit to get through. So, a talking point from one of our listeners, a well-known Scunny fan, Stu Moore, got in touch to pose this question as to whether fans are affecting performances as unity is needed. Now, it was a much longer message. I've tried to kind of condense that down so we can explore at least some of the content. Becky, I think it's harsh to lay any of this at the fans' door, right?
I don't think you can blame the fans for that. Like, Andy, it's hard to... It's the players' fault initially while we're playing. Some of it's Butler's fault, but Butler can lead them to the pitch. He can't force them to play. So it is down to them as well, but I don't think it's not down to the fans. Those fans pay good money to go there. They have stuck by the team, even when we were the worst of the worst, when we had absolutely nothing. I mean, when we was shaking buckets at them trying to get some money a year ago, they was always there. I don't think it's great to blame the fans, and I get it. Stu's probably frustrated because he's so kind-hearted, and this is the point. He's in there every day. He sees them on a more personal level than us. But realistically, these fans are what's saving us. These are the ones that paid those wages. So I don't think we can blame them. No.
Gareth, any thoughts?
No, I don't. Like I say, I don't think. Yeah, obviously, if people are slating you, you hear it. You can't. They cannot not hear it. But I don't think you can be blaming fans for the poor performance on the pitch. In all reality, no. I just feel that if I was getting slated week in, week out, I'd try and up my game. You know what I mean? I won't think, oh fuck yeah. I'd try and up my game, but I don't think that the fans can be blamed for what's happening on the pitch at all.
No,
I think that was wrong to say.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it comes. I think it comes from a good place, but I would say that when you start, I think that's the start of these incidents where Butler starts having a pop at fans. It's like when you start laying the blame at the fans, it creates an atmosphere where that behaviour is suddenly acceptable, or that behaviour can thrive. And the reality is this, right? Unity will exist as long as the football's good and we're winning games.
I also think this is where it's important that the board come out and say the same things on their official social media, because then all the fans know the same things, and this is the point. That's where unity is. There's no hearsay, there's no he or she said. We all know the same thing, and then I think that would cause unity. Fans are always going to have difference of opinions. That's what fans are. You'll go to the biggest clubs in the world and the one person will have a different opinion from another. It's just that obviously Butler and that can hear us because of how close we are to the pitch. It happens everywhere. We can't blame the fans.
No. Okay, we've had a look at that one then. And before we have our usual spy in the camp, let's just have a little preview of the Hereford game at the weekend. So Hereford up to 5th now. Now, when I recorded the upcoming section of the spy in the camp, it was on Tuesday just before Hereford's most recent game. So I think we used the term in and around the playoffs. They are now certainly in the playoffs, up to 5th, as we discussed with KD, 8th in the away form league table. Gareth, how do you see this one going down?
I think it'll be a good game. Personally, I think they'll come to play football. They'll come to get a result. That maybe look at us and maybe we've seen media themselves with the fans and think there's a bit of turmoil in the club. So yeah, I think they'll come to play football, and I think hopefully it's a good game, and we accept the challenge and play football as well, and keep the ball on the floor. Try and keep the ball on the floor, and I'm hoping that it's very similar to the Kidderminster game, and I'll be on the edge of my seat and enthralled for a change. But I think it'll be a good game, and I'm going to go. Do you want the score prediction?
Well, I mean, you've ruined the last bit, but sure, hit me up with the score prediction, guys.
I think we will win 2-0.
Oh my God!
I'm feeling the
train. The promotion train. Choo choo.
But yeah, no, I think it'll be a good game, and I do think we will have enough to get the result.
I just can't believe that the open top bus tour is going to be on like Good Friday. It's crazy. Becky.
Yes.
I wonder if you are as optimistic.
A bit more optimistic, I think. I'm going to go, we will concede.
Okay.
But we will only concede 1 and we will score 3. And I'm going for a Boise header.
I can see that.
One of my favourite celebrations is when Boise scores.
Yeah. Limbs.
So, I'm going for Boise and 3-1, but I do think they'll score. And maybe they'll score first.
Yeah, I think it might be another situation where we go 1 down and something happens.
So. And that's where the pressure builds on. And if we can fight on and get them goals back, play a great second half, and then I think we're onto it. We need to be up there. We need to win this game. Nothing more than a win. I don't think will be good enough because we need to come back fighting. We need to show why we are 3rd.
If Boise scores, can I just put this on record? I really want him to do like the Wayne Rooney boxing celebration. That would make my day. That. So, for those of you that don't know, Andy Boyce, twice youth boxing amateur champion in his childhood, exceptional boxer. I'd love for him to do that celebration. So that's kind of what we think might happen. What would you like to see, Becky, in terms of a performance? Is there anything that you're looking out for?
Just more. What would I call it? Just more of a team performance, not just hoping for one single to go up, not hoping for the strikers just to get lucky at hoying the ball over and wishing the best. From the back to the front, I'm hoping for a team performance because I know we could do it. Like Gareth said, Kidderminster at home was incredible. We was on our seats. It was a great game to watch. Probably one of my favourites for absolute years. If we can play like that, then I'd be happy. Even if it was like a 1-0 win.
Even if we play half like that, I'd be happy.
Yeah.
Just half of that performance, I'd be happy. I still think we'd have enough.
I'll just be happy. If anything's a better. No, I'm joking. I don't know. I'm changed. Like I'm genuinely. Becky hates this about me because I'm so predictable. I would forgive almost anyone with an apology and a smile. Like I don't know. What do you reckon, Becky?
Yes, you would, and this is the point. But maybe I'm too harsh. I don't know. Maybe I'm just realistic. I think I tend to not just melt at the sight of Andy Butler's smile and his strong arms. I guess.
I know, but he has got strong arms.
Yeah, maybe if it was Joe Murphy, it'd be a different story. But
and do you know how I think about Butts? I was thinking that blue. You said the blonde highlights, but when he dyed it blue, put the blue streaks in. Oh, guys, that did it for me, let me tell you.
It's saving that for the end of the season.
Imagine that.
Don't like the head jog.
Right. One thing I wanted to ask is, and we'll finish on this one before we have our spy in the camp. In terms of what our kind of hopes are for this season, Becky, do you think we're good enough to win the title?
Not at the moment. No. I think if we buckle down, because we've seen it before with Tamworth. Hers and Ashton's got, I think, 2 games ahead in front of us. So they've got 2 games in hand. So that is a lot of. I think it's 2. They've played 20, I think. They've got quite a few points to build up on, and I feel like once they've done that, they might be unstoppable. So I would be happy with playoffs. Realistically, if we can win playoffs, I know it's heartbreaking if you don't. But I don't think we're good enough at the moment to go up automatically now. Especially we're not with the other teams around us because they are playing so well as well.
Mm. Yeah, as you say,
Was I right?
they've played 20. We've played 21. So
Okay.
they've won, but they've got 2 games on Kings Lynn as an example, who obviously leapfrogged us and moved up into second place, chucking us down into third. So that's your kind of like expectations. What you think,
Yeah.
Gareth? Do you think we're good enough to potentially win the league?
After playing now, no, but on our day, yes. But it's got to be you've got to be on your day. Like I say, if we could play every game like we did Kidderminster, we'd be going on. But we're not going to play every game like that. And I think it's just about having a confidence and self-belief as well in the players. I think sometimes that maybe when the results don't go our way, maybe just knocks us confidence a little bit. But yeah, I would love us to go up, but automatically, I just feel that, like say, the playoffs, you might as well toss a coin sometimes and just whether it heads tails, and that's what it's like. And after last season, losing in the playoffs, I won't want to do it again. I would be honest.
It is a bit like tossing a coin, but you do obviously get the home advantage, which is significant, right? Although we did spunk it last season.
Well, it is, but then you get the home advantage, you get a big crowd in, and if we play the first half of football like we did against Marine, then that crowd's going to turn negative, and then it puts the pressure on the players, the pressure on the management. So yeah, it's great having home advantage, but you've got to make it work for you. And so yeah, it's just I think after Christmas, I think Becky said, we'll see where we're at after Christmas and into January.
I think that's what we need to do now.
Yeah,
have that assessment in the new year.
Yeah, we need to concentrate on the games coming up now, and worry about those, and not think about the end of the season and promotion, and just let's get the Christmas period, New Year period out of the way, see where we're at, and then take it game by game, as it were.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. So I'll just say we'll be back next week. We'll have Marco returning with his FPL. We'll have our usual hero idiot moment of the week returning next week. But before we all disappear, I will leave you with our spy in the camp. Bit of a treat this week. I'm joined by KD from the London Bulls podcast fans group. They do it all, don't they, KD?
Farah, real pleasure to meet you, and a real pleasure to be on this podcast. You pipped us to the Non-League Bible Awards Podcast of the Year Award too, so well done on that. Really well deserved. Huge fan of your work.
Thank you very much for that. And did we? We don't like to mention the fact we are double award winners on this podcast. It's never been mentioned, KD.
Yeah, I mean, there's some tough competition. It just shows the amazing work happening in the non-league world at the moment. You got people like Boston doing some amazing work, and Chester. So really, really exciting stuff happening in the podcasting world.
And like the non-league experience, I'll level you, mate. It's new to us. We're still acclimatizing. I mean, this is let me get this right. So would this be our 3rd season now in non-league? I mean, we're step 2 already. It's not going in the right direction, I have to be honest. But it's still a journey for us. We're enjoying meeting new people. I mean, we've had, chairmen of other clubs on this podcast, which is really cool because, if we were in League 2, it's hard to imagine, the Swindon Town chairman coming on or anything like that. So it's cool, right?
Yeah. I mean, your club, unbelievable. This was actually a League 1 fixture in 2008. So it's crazy that we're now playing in the 6th division now. You
I
know, this
was
is.
I was there actually in the away, certainly at the away game. I remember. Yeah.
Well, I remember you took Gary Hooper from us. Actually, it was a great signing for you. I mean, we just lost out on him. He was on loan to us before he moved to you.
I think he scored that day.
He did score. I was actually he came up right in front of me and celebrated.
Oh,
The rub
looked you
salt.
dead in the eye.
Yeah.
Not
But
what
he
you mean, is
didn't
it?
go on to have a bad career, did he? At Celtic and stuff. But yeah, I remember. I mean, I've always known you as a championship club, to be honest. I remember even when you played Man United, I think in 2010 in the Carling Cup. So for you in this division, I mean, you're really big for this league. I'm actually surprised you probably haven't gone up already. And as you've probably seen from the teams you face, how tough it is to get out of this division.
It's very hard, and that leads us nicely. Actually, let's talk about last season. Which is when he missed out. We finished second and didn't have enough really to get over the line. Played Hereford twice last season in the league, and probably as good as we looked all season, beating you 5-1 at your place and 4-1 at our place. What was your views, opinions on us last season?
Your quality was just unbelievable. I remember, was it Danny Butterfield just absolutely ran through us like a knife through butter, to be honest. I think as well with this league, you kind of got a hybrid of part-time and full-time clubs, and you can really just see the difference. And I think your full-time quality really showed. We only get 2 training sessions a week, to be honest. So
Do you know, yeah, we've got a bit of a theory. Some of us on this podcast have a little bit of a theory that being a full-time team in this division specifically in the second step is more of a hindrance than it is a good thing. So my philosophy is that what you've got is the worst professional players in the country. In terms of this is the highest level this is the lowest level that you can be a professional footballer, right? There's not many pro clubs in step 3. Maybe Macclesfield might be a pro club, but other than that, this is basically the lowest level you can play professional football. Meets the highest level you can basically play semi-pro football, because once you get into the National League, I think more or less, other than Tamworth, everyone seems to be a professional club. So it's hard attracting those players because a lot of those hybrid players don't want to move over to be in a permanent team because it just doesn't work for them, right?
yeah, exactly. And even just the distances you have to travel in this division, trying to attract people to play for your club. I think we actually train in Birmingham.
Wow.
So, most of our players aren't even from the area. They just come down every couple of weeks for a home game. So, yeah, as you mentioned, Tamworth, they did really well last season, and there's a part-time club. And they didn't win the FA Cup. They got Spurs, actually. But, yeah, it's a really interesting theory that, it's also a very inconsistent league. We seem to be beating full-time teams, but losing to part-time ones.
It's mad. Like I say, twice we played you last season. We looked amazing. The rest of the season, not so good.
Yeah, it was really nice coming up to your ground, actually. And this is no disrespect to the other clubs in this division, but it was nice having that kind of football league feel, like traditional stadium. So it was really good going up there. And I think that'll be an advantage for you this Saturday, the amazing crowd you get at your stadium.
They've dropped a little bit of late. Do you know the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're dipping a little bit. Form's not been fantastic, and the gates are kind of being affected at the moment. So we'd be hoping the win on Saturday would kind of turn the tide for us a little bit.
How much do you average, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, so the start of the season, we were getting close to 4K.
Okay.
I'll just pull up the current figure. I would imagine it'll be about 3.6, I should think. But give us a minute. I'll tell you what we'll do. Give me some time and I'll answer that question for you. Why ask you one? So Paul Caddis, currently your manager, I think he's in his second season in charge, right? How's he getting?
Yeah. Oh, he's been unbelievable. It's his first job in management. So he's incredibly fiery and passionate. He's like one of those traditional kind of like Scottish managers from an old school era. But what's really stands out about him is he really communicates well with the fans. He holds regular fans forums. He does stuff with our chairman. He really engages with us and makes us feel really appreciated. And he's got an amazing style of football. Like the players he's recruited, they kind of represent him. They love the club. And he's really brought something different in that aspect this season. So he achieved our highest points total last season, and we're in and around the playoffs this season. So hopefully we can start to consolidate, some of the really good results we've been having, and hopefully get a top 7 finish.
You said record points total last season, record finish in the National League North. You finished in 11th place with 69 points. What were the expectations last season? And on achieving that, where does it look this season? Would you be hoping for top 7 really?
Yeah, we've not really had very good finishes at all. We've been in this division since 2018. I don't think we've ever really challenged at all for the playoffs since that time. And with him kind of coming in with very little resource, there wasn't very much expectation at all. Especially with his managerial experience, we didn't know what we'd get really. So we thought a mid-table finish most of us would be happy with. But he did really well. Top table finish, really, really looking good, and we want to really build on that this season. I think we've kept a lot of the players last season, so it seems there's a lot more familiarity with the squad that we have. And I think we actually have the quality to finish in the playoffs, actually. And as I said, we've been so consistent. We've had some amazing results against full-time teams. We beat Chorley, who are up there, 1-0 the other night. And hopefully we can do it on Saturday as well.
And tactically, what kind of system does Cadiz play then? Is he an offensive manager?
Yeah, he likes to be on the front foot. His players like to press. They're quite aggressive. We actually have had quite a few red cards this season to our detriment, actually, which has made us lose a lot of games because of that. So I think we need to also just keep our discipline. But we do look really good. Our home form has actually been pretty shocking. It's not been brilliant. We've lost games we should have won to teams like Needham Market, for example. But our away form is really, really good. We've had a bit of a dip in the last few games, but we do tend to play better away from home.
Yeah, looking at the away form table, you're up to 8th, so that's not a bad return at all, and would kind of level off with your home form as well. It looks like it's pretty stable, to be honest with you. Do you think Hereford tend to set up a little bit differently when they play away from home?
I'm really surprised by it as well, to be honest. I think we do. It depends, really. It changes on the kind of pitches we play on. Because as you know, you've got plastic pitches in this division, different kind of levels of quality of pitches. So it normally depends, but I obviously presume you've got a carpet next Saturday. So hopefully we can see.
It's not terrible. It's not terrible.
Yeah. So hopefully we can see a lot of the ball on the floor actually being passed around rather than up in the air.
Oh dear. I'd rein those expectations in. You might need to bring a telescope with you on Saturday, mate, because the football we play, it's endorsed by the Sky at Night at the minute. I tell you now, KD. Just looking at the average home attendances this season. So yeah, we're 3,990, which is higher than I thought it would be because, as I say, they have kind of dipped a little bit last 3 or 4 games. Hereford in second, with 2,575 as your average attendance. So pretty good following. Do you think there'll be many making the trip on Saturday?
Yeah, I think we actually almost even were very close to selling out the away allocation last season. So hopefully we'll get some really good numbers again. We're playing tonight against Scarborough. So if we win, we might get a few more coming up, actually. So I know there's a few coaches coming up, actually. We've averaged 2,500 this year, close to 3,000, have really good away followings. But as we said, the distances in this division are nuts. Like Scarborough coming to us on a Tuesday night, which is a crazy journey, probably around 4.5 hours one way even. So
and are you based in London then?
Yeah, I moved up to London a couple of years ago. So it's even harder for me now.
Yeah. What's that? It'd be about nearly 3.5 hours then to get to Scunny, would you think? 4 hours maybe?
Yeah, potentially. I think we're going up to Doncaster and changing there. And then we've got a good few hours in the town. So hopefully visit a few good pubs.
Makes sense. Yeah, well, you make a night of it. Get yourself back to Doncaster. Good night out, KD.
Yeah, definitely. There's been a few good nights out so far with the towns we visited this year. But it's been a bit difficult because we're based in the south. I actually remember Bishop Stortford, who were in this division a few years ago. They lost all their team just because they couldn't really travel that much.
It was last season. Yeah, it was last season. Is it Stansted then there? Yeah.
It literally did London Stansted. They put them nationally north, and you're like, God,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy. So yeah, it'll be a really, really good day Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it.
I can't wait to host you. Just looking ahead to the game, then. Final question for you, KD. What's your expectations? What are your realistic ambitions for the weekend? Do you think you can nick all 3?
Personally, mate, honestly, from what I saw last season, your quality is too good. It's really.
I think
you beat us 5-1 or 5-2, and then we lost 4-1 at yours, didn't we?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it was similar time of year when we played at your place, and remember how cold it was? It was absolutely Baltic.
Yeah. Hopefully, it's not that cold again this Saturday, but I think it won't be as drastic the scores this year. I think it'll be probably closer games. I reckon. So I'll be more than happy with the point. I think I'd be delighted with the point, to be honest.
I think it's going to be a really close game. Just the way we've been playing lately, we need a win. We got a win against Marine on Saturday, but it was far from convincing, buddy. And I just think, I don't know. I'm worried. I am worried.
I am surprised. I've looked at your results and you've dropped a few points against teams I thought you would probably walk over, to be honest. So I've been more surprised this season than last, actually. It seems a bit more inconsistent with some games.
I think we struggle at home when teams, I'm not suggesting Hereford will do this, but when teams get men behind the ball and do the obvious thing and make it difficult, when they look to make it difficult, that's when we struggle. If I feel like if Hereford come and have a real good go, I think the chance that it swings more towards us. But if you come and get 5 at the back, try and break play up, hit the ball out of play as much as you can, play for time. I'm not suggesting Hereford will do this, but any team that does that against us this season, we've struggled. We've massively struggled, mate.
We did go 1-0 up last season, actually, up until half-time. So I think there is that added sense of belief that we can kind of go there and take the lead and be on the front foot. And there's probably an added sense of motivation in terms of the way we've lost both games and trying to get one back over you. So we'll see what happens. Really
I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But thanks very much for your time. Massively appreciated that, mate. And just all the best of luck with your podcast. We're great fans too. We always watch out for you guys. We've listened to a few. So I just wish you all the best of luck, man. And I'm sure you'll do us next season.
Really appreciate your time, Barry. Good work with all your podcasting. Well done on the award this season.